Hello everyone, welcome to TalentEgg Talks, coming to you from the comfort and safety of our homes. My name is Mary Barroll and I'm president of TalentEgg. I'm very pleased to host our chat today. Joining us today to answer your questions are Christine Marcelino and Theresa Nyabeze from Vale. Christine joins us from Mississauga and Theresa joins us from Sudbury, while I'm hosting this chat from Toronto. Christine is a manager of talent and development, and Theresa is a senior mining engineer. Vale is a global natural resources company headquartered in Brazil with its base metals business headquartered in Toronto. Vale is a global leader in the production of iron ore, nickel, copper, and cobalt. It's wonderful to have both of you here virtually today to answer our viewers' questions. Thank you for joining us, Christine and Theresa.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We asked our community of students and grads to submit any questions they had for you today. Thanks to all of you who submitted your questions. We'll try to get through as many as we can in our time together today. But before we begin, Christine and Theresa, did you want to give a brief background on Vale?
Sure, I can start, and Theresa, if you want to add, that would be awesome. So Vale is one of the, like you said, largest mining companies in the world, and we work specifically for base metals. It's one of the divisions of Vale, and in base metals we produce nickel, copper, and cobalt that really drive our world forward to a cleaner, greener future. So those batteries, very important. We're very important to developing those batteries. Our headquarters in Canada for base metals is in Canada, but we operate in 5 countries and 5 continents, and we're one of the true global divisions of the Vale company, and we really are working towards a safe future, responsible, and being a responsible and sustainable mining organization.
Terrific. Theresa, do you have anything to add?
It's such a global company that you do get exposed to so many opportunities. I've worked up in Thompson, and she talked about how we have operations out west as well in Boise and Sudbury. So I'm really looking forward to discussing this with you today.
Terrific. Now let's get to the questions that our community of students and grads submitted. Theresa, maybe we can start with you. What are some strengths that you find among women in STEM?
So definitely what I've observed by working amongst lots of women in in volunteer roles as well as in the business is I see a real innate curiosity and wanting to solve problems, which is a really important skill to have, especially when you are working in the mining environment where you're looking for innovative solutions of new ways of doing things to improve the safety and ideas that you need to bring to the table to make mining better. Also, I think another skill that I see that women in STEM have is a sense of collaboration. And this is something that you need, especially when you have different stakeholders with information that you need to incorporate into the work that you do. So I would say collaboration and an innate sense of curiosity and a desire to problem solve.
That's terrific. Adrienne from the University of Guelph sent in a question, and she asks, what's the most common degree that women in STEM come from at Vale? Christine, maybe you could take that on.
Sure. Engineering is the biggest arm of STEM, and specifically mechanical, metallurgy, and chemical, because in the processing of the minerals and the ore, we do use a lot of chemicals. However, and the good news is there's increased focus on technology. And so, digital transformation is a real big push in our business right now. So other STEM programs are equally as important.
And in a related question that Christine just answered, Theresa, what types of positions at Vale do women in STEM usually go into?
I don't necessarily have the statistics on where the women in STEM typically go into, but I'll selfishly speak about my discipline, which is mining engineering. And that's a discipline where we get to design mines and we get to optimize them and do financial analysis to make sure that they're viable and we're making profits. So as far as which discipline, I've seen women spread all over our organization. I mean, there are people working in environmental, metallurgical, but certainly my focus is mining, and I do see a lot of women mining engineers in our company.
And Yasmin from Ryerson University asks, how much previous STEM work experience do I need to get hired at Vale? Christine, maybe you could take this on.
Yeah, so we have a lot of programs here at Vale, and we hire people from all kinds of degrees. We're an intact organization. We have a finance department, an HR department, an IT, procurement department. So we're looking for degrees of all levels and experiences. And specifically for our global trainee program, we actually look for a wide range of candidates, and we really focus on potential and agilities. And this is something that you can demonstrate through your career, your experience through your school, your extracurricular activities, and not just in your work experience. So it's really important to consider all degrees and levels of experience coming into Vale, especially in the work that we do here in the talent management team.
Well, I have another question that would be, I think, appropriate to the talent management team. And that's from Victoria from Carleton University. And she asks, how can I get recruiters to notice me?
That's the $1 million question. So, all I can really say is our recruiters really look for someone who embodies our vision, mission, and our values. And we can see that through the examples that you provide in your resume, some of the achievements that if we can meet you face to face and talk to you, we can identify that through the conversation that we have in our career fairs. It's interesting, like, just to share my experience. I'm new to mining. I've worked for many years, and I joined Vale last September. But previously, I worked in food service, the restaurant industry, food retail, and what I learned there, and this is what I know we look for in candidates, is I learned to listen to and be interested in what others are saying and their experiences, because ultimately, in the work that we do, it's about making a difference and making a connection. So it's really important to be interested in others and make that connection on a personal and a professional level. And over time, you've done this with your friends, like you've created a network that you can bounce ideas off of, mentor, talk about career possibilities, and the people that you're going to school with today are going to end up in a career somewhere. So it's really good to keep that network going, and really critical within Vale to be able to do that, because we are a very matrixed global organization.
Well, I think it's interesting that you mentioned networking, and this is a question that maybe I could put to you, Theresa, because one of our contributors of our community asked, how can I find women in STEM to network with? So I guess they're looking for people who might already have a professional experience in that space, potentially at Vale or elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say about Canada in general, our landscape is ripe with opportunities to network while you're in school, after school, during your employment, seeking employment, tons of opportunities. So I'll start with the school opportunities. So within the schools, most schools will have engineering societies, and they will have, STEM associations where, with good old Google, you can either connect to the ones at your school, or you can reach out to other schools to tap into those networks. The other thing is a lot of our professional associations, for example, the Professional Engineers of Ontario, or the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers, to name the Ontario ones, will definitely have student membership options, and they look and seek to mentor and outreach. So you can Google those opportunities, tap into them. We also have the largest organization for mining individuals called CIM, Chartered Institute of Mining and Metallurgy. Again, they have highly, highly discounted opportunities for students and easy access for you to tap into those networks. There's Women in Mining Canada. So in general, what I would suggest to folks is, go online, Google Women in Science and Engineering. There's no doubt you'll find a chapter either where you live or nearby or an online virtual community. There's also communities through the lean in circles that you can tap into. So definitely, I would say that those are the most, low hanging fruit. I know that LinkedIn is also has created. There are a lot of groups that have been created on LinkedIn. Those are other opportunities to engage with professionals. All you really need to do is, Google Vale, and before you know it, Vale on LinkedIn, and you'll see lots of people you can tap into.
Well, that sounds like really great advice. I wanted to go to another question, and maybe I'll put this to Christine. And this is a really important one, especially today in the age of a pandemic. Sean from the University of Ottawa asks, how is your company keeping employees safe during COVID-19? And is it safe to go back to work? Could you take that on, Christine?
Yes, thank you for that question. This has been a really big effort across Vale, and specifically here in Canada. We are taking extra precautions. So anyone who can work from home has been asked to stay working from home as of March. When we heard after PDAC, the big conference in Toronto, right after that, we all were asked to go home and work from home and continue to do that. We're starting to create plans for people to come back to work in the office. We've actually reduced the capacity at the mines. We're making sure that we're respecting the social distancing, the protective equipment, the masks, all of that. And we're doing rapid testing in other parts of the world, such as Indonesia and Brazil. For example, when I do travel to Sudbury I have to take a COVID test. I have to pass my COVID test. And then when I get to Sudbury, any location that I am going into, they do obviously the rapid testing with the temperature checks. And we have an online health check every day where we just want to make sure everyone's good and they're feeling all right. So we ask our folks to go online, whether they're traveling to other locations or not, to make sure that they're doing their, how are your glands, how's your temperature, how are you feeling in general. So we really want to make sure that our people are safe. It's in other areas like Brazil, for example, we live where the mines are. So it's a real community. So if one person is ill, it could spread pretty quickly. So we're very diligent in those areas. In Sudbury, we're a huge part of that community. So we don't want to be, bringing, germs from Toronto into Sudbury. So anyone traveling into a dense city, into an area like Sudbury or Voisey's Bay, for example, we actually, closed down our operation in Voisey's Bay to make sure that community was safe because of the fly-in and fly-out situation. Bringing in people who aren't normally into that community was very, wasn't a good thing to do during COVID. So we actually put the plant in Voisey's Bay in care and maintenance. So we stopped operations and are just now thinking about how we can improve and reopen because one of our values is really life matters most, and we're really trying to stay true to that.
Absolutely. Well, it really sounds like you have a robust kind of safety protocol in place. And of course, that's so important for keeping all of your workers safe, but also to gaining the trust and confidence of new employees as well. So congratulations on all that effort. I have a question on another matter, and this is looking at, I think, that maybe news to people like me about perhaps the differences between different kinds of engineering degrees. Abdul from the University of Waterloo asks, what jobs can I get at Vale with a civil engineering degree? Maybe, Theresa, you have an answer for that.
Yeah, and ironically, Abdul, the person I'm thinking about with another engineering degree that I would speak about is called Abdul as well. And it's really around the fact that we are such a varied business in the sense that we need to make sure that in some cases that we build bridges, we need to build structures, we need to make sure that our environment is is being taken care of. So you'll find so many disciplines. One degree that folks have is even a civil engineering degree. And the civil engineering degree is interesting because there's so many applications, right? If you think of tailings dams, there's a civil discipline. You can also think of structures. So when you're going underground, you go through an elevator shaft, just like if you're going in a big apartment building. So we have engineers that actually look at structure as well. So as a civil engineer, you have lots of opportunities to specialize in different parts of mining, and you can even support an underground mine because there's structures that we build sometimes that need expertise from multidisciplinary individuals.
Yeah, I mean, that's fascinating to know. And for people like me who are outside of the engineering profession, that wouldn't be necessarily clear to potential candidates. But that's an exciting sort of diversity of engineering degrees that are applicable and certainly important for STEM. This one is an interesting question that perhaps Christine would like to address. How is gender equality incorporated in the global trainee program?
Our global trainee program is we strive for equality and not just gender equality. We strive for equality or diversity of thought, diversity of experience, and we don't actually have a quota or anything like that. We actually work through a process where it's a blind process up front, where it's really about your skills and your experience. And then we have a selection process that really works and builds on that. So we don't actually see candidates face to face until we actually do the second phase of the selection process. So it's really important to understand that gender is important. We know that having a gender balanced workforce really brings that focus on safety, the whole notion of diverse thinking, innovation. We know that there's lots of studies that support that thinking. We don't have quotas. I think I said that. But what we are doing is, as a business, we're actually looking at our long-term goal of diversifying our workforce in every way. And we are focused on doubling the representation of women across Vale over the next 10 years. And it's really twofold. One is it's a concerted effort. We're actually out there talking to females in STEM, females in other areas, and younger into the school and high school. But we're also making sure that we've got a focus on our Indigenous and our Inuit communities as well, because we operate in those communities. We want to make sure that we've got a balance of representation there. So lots of work underway right now. Mining historically has been a very male-dominated industry, and with more females going through the STEM programs, it really gives us a broader talent pool to pull from. And just fun fact is our global trainee program last year, globally, we are at 61% female.
Wow.
And it's pretty amazing. And it really is about the right candidate for the right position.
That's excellent and impressive kind of goals going forward as well. This is a related question about your company culture as it relates to equality and diversity. Christine, how does that reflected in your company culture?
Not sure if I'm going to answer this the specific question, but from a culture perspective, we're on a culture journey actually as a business, and we are looking at different ways to make sure that we've got broad experience in our teams as we move forward. So we love agile methodology in our business. So it's really about squads and making sure that it's not one person making a decision, it's a team. And we're looking more broadly. And because we're matrix, we can't make a decision just in HR that will impact the business. We bring folks, user groups into the decision-making and the process of design and actually even rollout. So we do think about culture as how we do things. And if we really want to make sure that we are an inclusive organization and a diverse organization, that's how we need to operate. And, you know, even in designing our culture plan, we have very large groups of catalysts in the business, and they range from people who have been there for a very long time, people who have just joined the organization, age, gender, cultural diversity. So we really are fortunate to have access to the diverse groups within Vale today, and we're just really bringing them together to make our future better.
Wonderful. I have a question for Theresa. Samui from McMaster University asks, as an engineer with Vale, do you work mostly in the field or in another environment?
Yeah, definitely. If you're the places where you work will definitely vary depending on what process you're supporting. So for example, if you can think of it in terms of planning and execution, if you're in the planning arena, you might be in planning where you're looking very strategically long-term. And in those cases, you don't necessarily need to go out into the field. However, in order to have the ability to think strategically for the business, it is very important that you are somebody who has been involved at some point in your career in the execution side, where you have been tactile, you've gone into the field. The reason that's so important is if you're thinking strategically without having tactile experience of how people actually do the work, then you'll create plans that are not executable. So basically, depending on whether or not you're working in execution or in the longer strategy, you'll be exposed to more field experiences. However, what I like about our company is that there isn't a shortage of opportunities if you raise your hand up to say, listen, I don't understand that process. Can I go see it in the field? That's really encouraged. Yeah, so definitely you're depending on where you are in your career, you are more in the field than not. And you can also manufacture opportunities to be more in the field if you see yourself taking care of a process that you don't have a tactile understanding of.
Right. Okay, I think that's a very thorough and a very practical answer to that question. So thank you for that. This one's for Christine. What's the best way to network with Vale recruiters? It's on the minds of every job seeker. How do you connect with recruiters at Vale?
Yeah. So find us on LinkedIn, and specifically for students, we're actually in many career fairs that are coming up in your university and information sessions. We're holding both. We're participating in both. And this fall, we'll be on campus this fall. And also, you know, just reach out. Reach out and, you know, through LinkedIn specifically, I'm happy to talk to you. We have a team of excellent recruiters that are really willing and able to tell you more about Vale and the other opportunities that we have outside of the Global Trainee Program. So we're growing, and we are looking for great people.
Fantastic! It's great. It's great that you're hiring, and that's really an important message, especially at this time during the pandemic. It's very encouraging news for students and recent grads who are looking for their next opportunity and their dream job. Nisha from the University of British Columbia asks, what is the best type of engineering I can pursue in STEM to go into a career in mining? Theresa, you've partially answered that with some examples, but maybe you can provide some direct advice.
Yeah, Nisha, what I would say about that question is, and you know, I'll channel a little bit of Oprah in this response. You know, it's really important to understand what it is you specifically like and to be true to that. And that doesn't mean you're, you know, losing opportunities, but it's meaning that you're taking into account what it is that you're passionate about. I'll give you an example. I know people who've been passionate about the environment since they were very young. So they're interested in climate and you know, being very conscious about the environment, electric vehicles. Well, guess what? That can actually direct the type of engineering that you do. Maybe you want to go into environmental engineering, or you want to specialize in an area that allows you to be our expert when it comes to electrical vehicles and whatnot. So what I would say is dig deeper into those things that you're passionate about, and then see what engineering actually fits with your desires, talents, and hobbies. Another friend of mine has always loved rocks and pebbles and collecting different ones. Well, it was a no-brainer that geology would be a great fit for her, because then she was able to explore that even deeper to find out, well, why is this rock yellow? Why is this one green? So what I would say is find out what it is you like. I myself can speak to the fact that I love problem solving with big teams and working in collaboration. So you'll find me wanting to be a part of or leading projects. So that kind of directs my path. So dig deeper, Nisha, into those things you're passionate about, and look at the types of engineering. Maybe you're a person who likes to mix things. Maybe chemical is for you. You like to see how things react. So that would be my response. And by the way, mining has so many opportunities that certainly your talents will find a home in mining.
Well, I can hear your passion myself. So that was a great Oprah answer, and maybe even better than Oprah could have answered that question. We have just a few more minutes left, and I want you both to address this. I think it's a great way to close the conversation. Andrea from Wilfrid Laurier University asks, what's the most memorable moment from your career working with Vale, and why do you love working for this company? Maybe, Christine, you could start us on that.
Sure. One of the reasons I took the job with Vale was I wanted to work for a global company. I'd worked for large Canadian national firms all my career. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to work for a global company where I could travel for work and da-da-da. Well, I got my first big trip to Brazil last December, and it was amazing. And what it was a leadership conference, top leaders together for 2 full days in Rio, and we had the best experience. And it wasn't, the beaches or anything like that. It was about a global company coming together and talking about our strategy for the next 5 years. And I'd been in strategy sessions for Canadian companies, and this was different. It felt different. We had exposure to like Satya from Microsoft. He came to talk to us. We had all the really big organizations that everybody kind of wants to be with, to learn from and have access to. So that was really powerful for me. And I was able to bring that back and start building our strategies here for the base metals team. So that was really cool.
And I wonder if you could take that on, Theresa. Tell us about Vale that you really love about working for the company.
Yes, one of my most favorite memories to date is, getting an opportunity to work as an underground supervisor for about 2 years. And, just that moment you get when you're standing outside. We have these big vehicles. You should Google them, Karuna trucks, which move ore on this electric trolley. And I just remember one day standing outside of the garage and seeing one drive by, and knowing that, all of the disciplines come together to make sure that we are moving ore in a safe, sustainable way. So from providing employment to the drivers of these big trucks, to the engineering it takes to make sure that you have these trolleys and these electric vehicles driving by, to making sure we have the right ventilation so people can breathe in air safely, to making sure, the ground integrity. So for me, it's the fact that we're able to bring together so many disciplines to collaborate, to create this safe environment that allow community members to have fulfilling work, that they can thrive, grow their families. So for me, working for Vale is, it's more than a job. It's about community, and it's about the communities in which we exist in, and how we build and uplift them by providing safe, meaningful work. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Christine and Theresa, and thank you everyone for watching. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, but I thought I'd turn it over to you both to provide us with any final thoughts that you have for the audience.
Well, I just really appreciate the opportunity to share, and hope that you consider a professional career with Vale, and see you at our career fairs and info sessions.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, as you can see, my first and last name, please do add me on LinkedIn. If at all you need to chat, don't be shy. I know I would have been shy, to be honest, in the same situation. I wouldn't have taken this advice. I would have heard somebody say, add me on LinkedIn, and I would have been like, I don't know, maybe she's not really serious. Well, I'm serious. So add us on LinkedIn, ask questions. Happy to share any insights that I can have or my colleagues can have for you in your career journey.
Christine and Theresa, thank you again. And thank you, our audience, for joining us. And be sure to tune into our next TalentEgg Talks. Visit our website, talentegg.ca, to find out more information about Vale. Have an excellent day.